how you like it, yeah.
Hello, and welcome to the We Don't Know TV podcast. My name is Leaf. I am your host. This is a podcast where we watch the first episode of a show, and then we talk about it. Last week I did Vice Principal, so I was trying to stay with the, school theme, I guess you would say. And I remember I watched this show called Deadly Class, so I went and I watched that again. Now, I don't remember it, so no spoilers for the season. We're just going to talk about episode 1. And the premise on IMDb for the first episode is a delusional teen finds purpose and fights for survival in an elite academy for the deadly arts. Alright, another thing to be said is that this is based on a graphic novel. I did not read that. I've never read it, so I'm just going strictly based on the first episode. So whether this got it right compared to the source material, I do not know. Alright, so let's just hop right in. We're gonna go beat for beat as per usual. I have my notes. So it starts with this boring class lecture, and man, even I was bored. But hey, Wong's here from the MCU, of course playing a different character. And this girl gets hit right in the face. And it's like, oh. And then she licks the blood from her nose, and she's like, yeah, you like this, huh? And looks at who you assume to be the main character, and he's like, no, I do not like this. And we're like, okay, so this show, it's already starting off a little violent, but hey, it's called Deadly Class for a reason, so you know what I mean? Let's get into it. And I don't know if it's me or just, Hollywood. But I keep picking these shows that have voiceovers, and it's like, guys, it's show don't tell. But again, we're doing this voiceover. Nothing too interesting other than the fact that Marcus is homeless and that he's wanted for apparently burning down a boys' home and killing a bunch of people inside. But he's like, nah, I didn't do that. But the city is violent, so he says. This is like Gotham City, I guess. But I mean, you don't really see that. It's just kind of like him wandering around. He goes back to this one area, and it seems like there's he gets bullied by a homeless dude, and you're like, yo, is this guy in charge? And he gets his ass kicked. And I was like, damn, dude, it's one thing to be homeless, but it's one thing to be bullied and homeless. Your luck is low, my guy. So I think that was a nice touch of this kid is really going through it right now. And he's walking through the streets. He just got his ass kicked. He sees a roach on the floor to smoke. He smokes it. Guess what? It's laced, everybody. Also, it happens to be Day of the Dead. Don't know why that's important, but apparently that is happening. So yeah, he is high as a kite. And then some random kids are like, yo, you've been spotted by the cops, my man. And it's like, wait, what? And then too late, the cops are already here. They see him. They know who he is. And they are after him. And it's at this point, I'm like, is it really that hard for cops to find homeless people if they really wanted to? I mean, the fact that they're immediately running after him is like, how high of a priority on the list is he? I don't know. But he's saved by some other kids. Lana Condor shows up. Her character's name is Saya. She beats up all these cops, and it's like, okay. And I like that she takes out the lights first, so it distracts them, and then she beats them up, because I was like, girl, you got a sword and they got guns. They will blaze you down. But they actually made a move that would make sense to be like, oh, you're too distracted in the moment, so it would make sense for the cops to get their ass kicked. I like it. Alright, so, then, did I mess up already? No. Oh, okay. This is where so he wakes up and he's tied up, and they're like, yo, we want you to be an assassin because you burned down the boys' home. And he's like, no, that ain't, or he didn't say that yet, but they're like, because you burned down the boys' home, we want you to be an assassin. And at this point, I was really confused because he gets really snarky with them, and I'm like, okay, you were kind of a wimp when it came to that dude that was the homeless dude that was bullying you, and now that you're tied up and around people that seem capable of at least martial arts, now you want to be brave? I was like, this doesn't really make sense. But they're like, join the school, and he's like, nah. Which is like, dude, you have no home. But I mean, I guess it makes sense when you're homeless, and I assume you think everyone's out to get you, so maybe you'd say no. So, I let that part slide, but he goes back to his homeless encampment area. Police are there. He's like, oh man, I gotta get out of here. And then we get to this comic flashback, and I don't know if it's in the style of the actual graphic novel, but just watching it as a TV show, I was like, oh, I wonder if this is gonna be a running theme. It's not for the rest of the episode, at least. So I was like, okay, this is a weird part to put this at. I'm like, is this a reference thing? Is this a budget thing? What are we doing here? But it turns out that, at this time, Reagan released a bunch of inpatients. And one time when he was hanging out with his mom and dad, a suicide jumper jumped and fell right on top of his parents, and they all died. So he ended up being homeless. Or he ended up being homeless. He got put in that boys' home, and the rest is kind of history. So then it cuts to him jumping, and he's talking over it, and he there's something, I think he says it's something like ironic that I feel like I want to jump. And I was like, yeah, it is. Like, it's really weird that you would want to do this of all things. I feel like you would just kind of like do something else. But hey, what do I, And then this is where Saya shows up, and she's like, don't do it. Yeah, you can do something else. You can live and be an assassin or whatever. And then she kisses him. And I'm like, why did we do that? I don't really... makes sense. But that kiss gives him life again. He says, you know what? I was gonna kill myself, but ladies, they'll change my mind. So he decides to join. Turns out the number one rule is don't give up the location. It's like, okay. And then the other rules are no disobedience, no drugs, and no sex. But they're teenagers, so they're gonna bang anyways. At least that's what Maria says. And the place is called the King's Dominion. I was like, okay, cool name. The main location looks like almost like a Chinese food place. And then, go underneath, and it's, like Hogwarts down there. It's like, okay, this is cool. I like the name. Everything's looking all right. He really gets to meet Master Lin, who I was saying is Wong. And then Master Lin is like, yo, my grandfather started this whole place. He basically came to America, saw that things were messed up, and then used his deadly skills to kind of start changing things, and he wanted to do that with other people. So he was like, almost like a messed up Robin Hood. He's like, instead of giving taking from the rich and giving it to the poor, I'm going to give the poor power, and then they can do with that what they will. A little dangerous, but all right. So Marcus hears that, and for whatever reason, he's like, all right, I'm in this time. He gets a new outfit, he gets books, he gets weapons. It's like, okay. And then he immediately says hi to the 4 kids that, recruited him in the first place. And everyone's like, don't talk to me. And it's like, all right. And then even the one blonde girl that we seen in the beginning of the episode says something racist to him. It's like, okay, this school is already not, this ain't Hogwarts, everybody. But then it kind of is, but let's not get into the nitty gritty of that. And so... this is when we cut back to... oh, no, sorry. This is where we meet Maria, and she's like, yo, you gotta join a gang. Are you Hispanic like me? And he's like, kinda. And then she's like, yo, you should join our gang. And this is where her boyfriend, Chico, comes up, and he's like, oh, you think my girlfriend's hot? And then he's like, I don't know, she was kind of talking to me. And then Chico, grabs Maria, and... Marcus is like, yo, bro, chill. And then he's like, oh, you think you're big? I'm going to murder you. And it's like, girl, if you know that your boyfriend's crazy, don't be talking to other people. She comes off already flirty from the bat. And it's like, yo, is this your thing? And the show isn't saying this. This is me. You know what I mean? I'm like, girl, if you know, don't be dragging that to other people. Don't be bringing your drama to other people's doorstep. You know what I mean? Anyways, this is where we cut to... the part we seen in the beginning of the episode where, he finally, or the note, and she gets hit in the head, and she licks the blood off her nose, and she's like, and he's like, no. And then he opens up the note, and it's more racism from the same girl. Yay. And then Lynn is like, hey, everyone, your first assignment is to pick someone that you deem to be a bad person, and you need to kill him. And this is where Marcus is like, well, that dude from the beginning of the episode, that Rory, the homeless dude, is a piece of shit, so I'm gonna kill him. And it's like, okay. Then we cut to combat class. So one thing I liked about this episode is kind of indoctrinating us as the viewer into what does it look like going through the school. like, what are some of the classes you're going to take? And it's like, okay, cool. Because, you know, if you're going to be an assassin, especially as a kid, you're wondering, okay, what are they going to teach them? Is this going to be like grueling? You know what I mean? Or, you know, what is the setup for this place looking like? And so far, it's this weird but interesting, like, actual class structure of like, you go from this class to this class, but you're actually like learning. Well, I don't know what the first class was. I think it was a history class. But, you know, next we're going into combat. So it's like, okay, cool. We're like learning something. But this is when we go to combat training, and homeboy with the mohawk, whose name I forgot, is like kind of like making fun of Billy. So Billy is like messing around with Victor while Victor has like the hold on him, I guess, and like gets his arm broken. So it's like, okay, this is kind of an intense class, but like not really, because Billy's just kind of laughing it off. And then the whole time, him and Maria just kind of like, Marcus and Maria are just kind of holding each other. And even then, she's like, she's still flirting. And it's like, girl, you know that your boyfriend's crazy. Like, what's your problem? I don't like her off the bat, to be honest. But then she like flips him, and you know, we are on to the next class. So this is kind of the problem already, is like we're blazing through these classes, but it doesn't really feel like he's learning. Like, he doesn't learn anything in his first class. He just kind of like talks to him and then slams him to the floor. And I'm like, this kid ain't gonna be an assassin if he's not learning stuff. You know what I mean? He gets some mouse bones in the hallway, and he's like, okay, this is weird. Next, we are on to potions class. Or poison class. Why did I put potions? Harry Potter, damn it. Poison class. And this is where Billy gets back at Victor. He teams up with some like emo looking girl, and he like puts some, I don't know if it's poison or what, in Victor's drink. Victor drinks it, and he ends up shitting himself. And the teacher is like, this is your fault for not paying attention to your surroundings. Like, you gotta be on point at all times. And then he makes Billy go like, all right, but you're gonna have to clean it up. It's like, oh, but it's I kind of like the harsh consequences of like, hey, no, you both have to learn a lesson. And again, this is an assassin school, so like being on point is important, because when you're out there, you never know what's gonna happen, right? But again, I don't know if the show is really saying that. I feel like this is more me coming at what it's saying and like taking it to heart more than the show being like, look, Marcus, like you have to really learn these lessons. And then we move on to lunchtime. And at lunchtime, Marcus has to sit by himself because there are a bunch of gangs that he's not affiliated with. Billy, the Mohawk dude, shows up. He's like, let me give you the deets, new kid. He's like, we got the preps over there. Nobody really likes them. We got the Dixie mobs, aka the like Nazis. We got the Hessians over there. We got all the black kids. First world. I forget the I stands for. I just put FWI. But you got the black kids over there, and then you got the Yakuza over there. And we are rats because we don't have any affiliation. So like, come hang out with us. And I feel like it's really weird that everyone, like, it makes sense that everyone would gravitate towards people that are probably in the same, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you're going to gravitate towards people you feel similar with it. That's why, like, in schools, there's always the idea of cliques, right? But the fact that, like, you need to affiliate yourself with a gang, or if not, you're kind of like an outcast, is a little weird to me. I know this is supposed to be like set in the past, but I'm like, so you just naturally like bring people in and then be like, I don't know, figure it out or not, like whatever. Where I feel like everyone should be intermingling, especially because if this is an assassin school, like part of assassinating it would be to like blend into your surroundings. So I feel like being stagnant and by staying with a certain group only leads you to like not distance yourself, but like you're not really getting into like the knowledge I feel like you would need to. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I just feel like a more mixed variety of students in general, like intermingling, would be better in terms of like, maybe I need to like infiltrate this area. But hey, what do I know about being an assassin? Oh, so yeah, he's hanging out with the kids on the roof, the rats, getting to know them a little bit, and they're like, "Yo, what do you want to do?" And he's like, "I want to assassinate Reagan because his actions led to my parents dying." And they're just like, "Yeah, okay." And they're like, "By the way, you know that Chico dude that doesn't like you from the beginning episode, Maria's boyfriend? Yeah, he kills people, like for real, even if it's against the rules. So you're gonna be done, my guy." And then this is where Marcus gets really scared, and he goes to Saya for help, who, again, in this school, everyone's in their own little clique, and you don't really talk to each other. And she's like, "Don't talk to me. I don't know you, dude." And he's like, "Listen, that whole thing about me burning down the whole boys' school when I was younger," he's like, "It's a lie. I've never done anything like this. They did horrible things to us in there, and, like, things went awry, but, like, it wasn't my fault. Everyone just thinks it is." And he's like, "I feel like you like me, you kissed me." And she's like, "Dude, that was just my assignment. Like, I don't like you like that. Like, you took this the wrong way." She's like, "Your best bet is to just run, okay?" And that's what he starts to do. And then who shows up, of course? Maria again. And she has a black eye. And he's like, "Oh, Chico wanted to put his hands on you? I'm gonna handle it." And again, this is my problem with this first episode and why I don't really care about Marcus, is that one second he's a coward, and then the next second he's like super brave, and there's no in between, and there's no real ebb and flow as to why he's there, and there's like no fear. He's just like scared one second, and then he's brave the other second. Like, he's scared of the homeless bully in the beginning, but when he's tied up with these assassin kids, he's being snarky and kind of brave. And then he's afraid of Chico getting him, but oh look, there's a chance to impress a girl, and now he's suddenly brave. And it's not even like a nervous brave. He just like goes in there and he just punches him right in the face. And this is Marcus punching Chico right in the face. And it's like, bro, like, and the fact that everyone in this assassin school is like, hey, one of the rules is like you can't kill the other students, and this guy does it anyways, and we all know it. So why would Marcus be possessed to just be like, "Yep, yeah, I'm just gonna do it"? So he does that. Chico puts a knife up to his throat and is like, "I'm gonna show you something." And this is clearly plot armor, because if he's about that life, then Marcus should be dead. But Lynn shows up, interrupts the fight, and Marcus is suddenly like, "You know what? I don't even like it here. I'm leaving." And it's like, what? Why? Why? Like, are you because you were gonna die, or like it doesn't really make sense. It's not like he got jumped. Like, you were the aggressor in that situation. Like, what is happening here? And so this is where he's leaving, and then Willie shows up, and this is the black kid, and he's like, "Yo, get in the car." And he's like talking to him like a normal person, like they're actually cool for some reason. And then he's like, "Yeah, I think the combat teacher is hot. That crazy blonde girl that's racist. I hooked up with her a couple times, so don't worry, we're not dating. I'm not crazy." And then he was talking, he starts to talk to Marcus about the X-Men, and yeah, he starts to talk to Marcus about the X-Men, and Marcus is like, "Yo, X-Men is overrated." And he puts a gun to his head, and he's like, "Yo, say that again." It's kind of funny, but he's like, "Listen, you're my partner. We gotta do this assignment where we kill somebody." So he's like, "Help me with this, and then I'll drop you off wherever you want, and we never have to see each other again." And then Marcus is like, "Yo, don't worry, I already got my guy picked out. Let's go." So they go to Rory, the homeless man. And Willie got the gun, and he's pointing it, and he's like, "I can't do it." And he throws the gun away, and Marcus is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Listen, man, I'm a pacifist. Like, I can't do this." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "What?" Like, this isn't a kung fu school. This isn't a martial arts school where you're just like training to just have this knowledge. You're at an assassin school. The whole point is to assassinate people. So I'm like, what are you even doing here? Like, you should have been caught a while ago, in my opinion. But hey, you haven't. That's fine. But like, being at a place where your whole thing is supposed to kill people, I just feel is like bad writing, kind of. Because it'd be one thing if he's like, "I don't like killing people, like physically." Like, it'd make more sense if he was almost like, I like poisoning people or something like that. Like, I don't want to get my hands dirty. Like, I don't mind killing people, but I don't want to get my hands dirty. I feel like that's more of an interesting twist than being like, yo, I don't want to kill people at all at this deadly school for assassins. Because then it's like, what are we doing here? But anyways, they get caught by Rory. He chases his Marcus. Marcus is like, please don't kill me. He chases Rory chase Willie. Willie's like, don't kill me. Marcus is the one that kills Rory, and he handles it, right? And then Willie's like, yo, the whole reason I'm even here in the first place is because my mom thinks it'll make me tough. And Marcus is like, well, your mom's dumb. And they burn the body, and he's like, listen, I'll help you out, and I'll stay, and I'll go back to the school. And it's like, okay, doesn't really make sense why you left, let alone why you want to come back after you killed some dude. But okay. So they go back. Marcus is like, yo, let me smoke a cigarette. Like, I just need a second to myself. His hands are shaking, and it's like, okay, he's a little, distraught from killing somebody, but he doesn't seem like torn up about it. So it's like, what is your deal here? I don't understand. And this is where Maria comes back, and she doesn't have a black eye, and he's like, what the fuck? And she's like, yeah, you look like you wanted to do something, so I kind of led you on this path to like take out my boyfriend. And he's like, why would you do that? And she's like, well, I figured you'd kill him, and then I wouldn't have to deal with him anymore. So yeah, sorry about that. And then she kisses him, and it's like, we doing a love triangle thing on the first episode. Like, also, she is just terrible. She's a bad person. Like, you have to stay away from her, Marcus. But he can't hear me. Only you guys can. And she's like, yo, we're gonna have this like little party thing later. You should come. And he's like, yo, girl, kiss me again. Like, I'm that guy. And it's like, oh my god, what are we doing, Marcus? Yeah. And then Marcus goes and he meets with Lynn, and Lynn's like, yeah, my family died. And basically they're like, the court and everyone was like, oops, it is what it is. And then after he does that, sorry, I got a text message that threw me off. He was like, yeah, so they weren't gonna do nothing, so I went and found those people and I killed them myself. And sure, it didn't give me peace, but eventually like it led me on a new path or whatever. So he's like, try it out, Marcus, see what happens. And he leads Marcus to his room, which is a supply closet, which is just kind of like fuck you. In my opinion, it's like, yeah, we took you off the street just so you can sleep in a closet with supplies. And it's like, like if I was Marcus, I'd be like, damn, son, like you couldn't find me a room or something. Like I can't bunk with somebody. Like this is, and I'm sure Marcus is probably like, I don't know, so I have to sleep outside. This is awesome. But I don't know, call me selfish. I'd be like, yo, can I get like a normal room like all the other kids? This feels a little extra, you know what I mean? And then this is where it cuts to Lynn looking at all the pictures of all the kids, and Saya comes in and she's like, yo, am I still doing my assignment, wink wink? And he's like, yeah, you're still doing that secret assignment, wink wink. And it's like, oh, mystery. And then it ends with another voiceover with Marcus at the party on the roof with everyone, and he's like flirting with Maria again, and she goes there and he's like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna murder that kid. And he sees Saya and she has like a weird look on her face, and that's where this episode ends. Now, this is where I get into my rating system, right? So I have 3 ratings. It's one and done. It is give it a chance, and I'm in. This one, even though I had watched the whole season when this show first came out, I really don't remember it, and now I remember why. I'm going to give this one a one and done. I did not care for this show, or this episode. Yeah, it did not do anything for me. I think a couple of issues is that the show is not all over the place, but kind of like on both. Like it wants to do 2 different things and it's not committing to either of them. Like, one second Marcus is, scared, like really scared. And then the next moment he's like super brave. And like, this is a school for assassins, and the classes are set up like from I guess a curriculum, not curriculum, but like the classes make sense of the classes you would be taking, but none of the classes felt like this is an assassin school. Like, how do I make it make sense? Like, the combat wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting like some high level, like you might actually get hurt and like have to walk away from the school in like a body bag just from combat class. You know what I mean? I was expecting some like Hunger Games level type of like only the best make it out of the school, and it just seemed pretty chill. And then, you know, you have the kids acting cool with each other when they're outside in the beginning, and then they get to school and everyone has their own clique and they're like, don't fucking talk to me. And it's like, what? I'm like, what is the show trying to be? Like, you're trying to be left and right at the same time, and it's not clear what this show is. Right? And then even with the little backstory that is set in like a graphic novel type look, it's like, is this gonna be like a recurring thing? Is this a one-time thing? Like, what? There's just so many things that I'm like, it doesn't feel like the show has like a clear vision. And granted, I know, first episode, but yeah, I was just like, there's nothing really grabbing me, specifically the main character, Marcus. Yeah, he's just not interesting me. So that being said, yeah, I would not go back to the show. Probably just watch something else. But yeah, I feel like I leaving this one on a little bit of a bummer, but hey, it happens, you know what I mean? But I appreciate your time. Give this show a rating or a comment or wherever just give me some sort of feedback wherever you hear this, and have a good day. Peace.